Greetings, fellow dreamers, to It Came from the Grove. I'm Wistmoor, here to show everyone how close dreams are in the waking world. And I'm joined by Wisteria.
Hello, hi everyone.
She's cunning as a lawyer, chased by ambulances.
Excuse me?
I thought I might surprise you with that one. Now,
I am surprised.
one thing we didn't do is a sound test. So hopefully everything sounds okay. And we're not doing this amazing stream with no sound. Would you mind checking it real quick?
Mm-hmm.
We got a Melantrist. We already got a let's go. Hello, Melantrist. You can be our sound tester. How is everything? Good to see you. Cunning as a what?
Yes,
Cunning,
sound is good.
cunning as a lawyer chased by ambulances. Because you know, lawyers have been known to chase ambulances for work, accidents,
Um,
and it's actually illegal to do.
oh.
Like it was such a thing that there had to be a law passed to say don't do that.
Is this the fun fact of the US?
Yes.
Amazing.
Thank you, Melantris. Glad we're relatively okay, sound-wise.
We don't have such a thing around here. I mean, we do have lawyers and ambulances, but they have nothing to do with each other.
Okay, so no lawyers chasing ambulances in Romania, and
Nope.
not in Bulgaria either.
Nope.
Well, today we're not talking about lawyers, ambulances, or fox girls being chased. We are talking about enchantment, where people ensnare hearts and minds. Some might call it mere manipulation, others artful persuasion, and a small few know it as fairy glamour.
Also known as well.
That is a power. That is a power that
Exactly.
a fox girl has.
Were you ever enchanted by the uwu?
Yeah, I got quite a few uwus. I got uwued.
But do you let yourself be uwued in general?
I don't let myself. It's the power of fascination that overcomes me.
Really? You're gonna be overcome right now.
Uh,
Whisper, look at me.
what? What?
Hi.
I was not prepared for that.
No one is. Hi, everyone.
Wow. Actually,
What a glimpse.
I'm just a simple man. I have to do the simple things that a simple man can.
that's my response.
Do
All
you
right.
like it?
Yeah. Let's tone it down a little bit so I can concentrate.
Yes.
I'm completely lost in my notes now.
Good thing you have them wrote down.
So we'll uncover the secrets of enchanters who've mastered the art of captivation, just like our fox girl captivated and stole all my words away. From fairy tales to myths of beauty driving some men to acts of madness, and even men committing acts of beauty. Plus we've got nefarious uses of esoteric managerial magic being used on unsuspecting employees. And Wisteria also set up this response state for my VideoTube avatar, and it's really weird. I've got this huge heartbeat going on. I'm very impressed.
That was accidental, and then I saw it, and I was like, it stays. It's fine.
Happy little accidents.
Yes. Your heart beats for me.
We got a keck. We got a keck in chat.
Esoteric managerial magic. Yes, this is corporation magic.
Yeah, yeah.
This is when your secretary enchants you.
Or vice versa.
I mean, they are bored.
Yeah, it should be some good stuff. I've merely perused the article, and it's about mesmerism. So we will get into it, and I'm looking forward to it and seeing what kinds of secrets we can uncover about esoteric managerial magic, and maybe I can add some of my own life experiences to it. But we are starting off with the most obvious form of fascination, and then we'll get to the more esoteric forms as we go. So we're going to begin with Helen of Troy.
What a beauty, what a legend.
Herbie, a student of charm, persuasion, and extortion.
What
Unfortunately.
have I extorted from you, Melantrist? What are you missing?
I think he might have merely been a witness.
So beware, people. I have magics.
So we got a little bit of a video summary of the legend of Helen of Troy.
Between Troy and the kings of Greece. The reason why so many men fought in this war was Helen and her legendary beauty. Helen of Troy was born Helen of Sparta, the daughter of the Spartan queen. By the time she had grown into a young woman, rumors had spread throughout Greece of her beauty.
Have you guys read the Iliad?
I think I had just a snippet of it in school to read.
Okay. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think, yeah, I enjoyed it more than the Odyssey. The Odyssey had like the crazy creatures with Cyclops and sirens and the magic using Circe, but the story overall of the Iliad is, I think, more compelling.
What did you like most about the story?
Character interactions and yeah, just the dynamic of all the different characters.
Do you have it in your bookshelf?
Yes, I do. Actually, I have two different translations.
In English?
Yes.
May I snatch one?
Yeah, and I'll point you to the better one. Because I started off with one that was just the first one I bought, and then I found that there was a better translation out there, so I got a second. And then when I did that, I got it in like a fancy hardback. Is it leather?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's just fancy
Wistmoor
hardback.
shows me the good stuff.
Also, the Odyssey and the Aeneid. I do have the Aeneid. I haven't read it yet, so I do need to get to that.
And great men from all over Greece began seeking her hand in marriage. But a problem soon arose. With so many of the richest men and greatest warriors fighting for her hand, Helen was worried that whoever she ended up choosing would soon be killed by the others.
Yeah, so this is important. And I don't think this part is actually in the Iliad, but it's where they make a pact between all the suitors so that whoever wins the hand in marriage won't be killed in jealousy by somebody else. And it's a way of keeping peace between all the fascinated by her beauty.
And did it work?
It worked, but it also had a profound side effect that was unexpected.
To prevent any conflict and fearing for their own lives, the men were convinced by Odysseus to swear an oath to protect the man that Helen chose, and even to come to his aid if Helen was ever stolen from him. Obviously hoping to be the one chosen by Helen, every man agreed to this bargain.
The man that she would end up choosing was Menelaus of Mycenae,
younger brother to the richest king in all of Greece, Agamemnon. The other suitors would leave their wedding, not knowing that the oath they had just sworn to prevent conflict would begin the largest war they would ever see.
Yeah, so that's the side effect, because she does get abducted. And this is sort of the start of a story of men driven to madness merely by a woman's beauty.
Mm-hmm. In this story, was she ever described physically?
Yes, and I think I have. If I don't, I will bring it up. But I had a video of somebody who did a recreation based off of the description in the Iliad.
Yeah, because I had this theory about beautiful women in history, and how whenever I would see a documentary about them, they would kind of be like, so Cleopatra was just the most beautiful woman in ancient Egypt, and men liked her because she was a good diplomat. And I'm like, yeah, I was waiting on how she looked. And when they start describing her, they always describe how she acted, what she knew, like she could do, how much of a diplomat she was, how many languages she would speak. Like, these documents rarely touch on how she actually looks, like point to point. And if they do, they kind of say, like, we had different depictions on coins or statues or pottery, but she
Right.
was such a diplomat and she charmed everyone. And I'm like, this happened a lot with other female characters. So I don't know if, beauty is just like one thing that it's enticing men, but a lot of the other qualities that come along with beauty are the ones that get to be written down in history.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we won't touch too much on is the beauty standards. But
Mm-hmm.
one through line of talks of beauty and all of these historical documents is about character and how that affects a woman's beauty. Even with their charms, she's kind of ran Egypt into the ground.
Melantris knows her personally.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we'll touch on a little bit today as we talk about Helen and go to other characters, is how beauty is physical, but it also has other qualities that have a power of persuasion as well.
Mm-hmm. And I do have one question. With all these men that willingly went into the most brutal war for the beauty of a woman, what were they exactly expecting to get from all of this?
Well, it was mostly about their honor because they had pledged their word, and honor was
A thing.
a man's worth. So if you were dishonorable, then you'd be kept out of business transactions and looked down on from society. So it was integral to who people were back then.
Mm-hmm. Does honor weigh just as much in today as it used to back then?
No, I definitely do not think so.
This is why we don't have knights around.
True.
That, and because it's not okay to carry swords on the streets.
On the other side of the Aegean Sea, the Trojans lived rich and powerful in a beautiful city called Troy, which was surrounded by indestructible walls that had never been breached, and many thought they had been made by the gods themselves. The Trojan king, Priam, was an old and beloved king who had many children. Among them was Prince Hector, one of the most respected warriors in the known world. Brave and loyal, he was everything a man could want from a son and heir. And then there was Paris. Before he was born, a prophecy was told that Paris would bring destruction to Troy. But Paris' mother, Queen Hecuba, could not bring herself to kill him.
Yeah, so we're going to hang around in this video for a little bit just to get the mythological background where Aphrodite comes in.
She would instead give him to a shepherd to do the deed, but the shepherd could not do it either, instead deciding to raise him as his own son. Everyone in Troy was relieved, believing the prophecy had been diverted. But fate had something else in mind for Paris and for Troy.
Melanthus says, don't forget that according to the Iliad, the war was also very much influenced by the gods.
Yeah. Yeah, even the start of the war is thought to have been an effect of the gods.
Far away, on Mount Olympus, the gods were celebrating a wedding. All the gods and heroes from Greece had been invited, except for one.
It's almost like Melanthus is in on our script today.
Yes.
Eris, the goddess of discord. She was angry and jealous of being left out, and she would decide to do what she did best. She created a golden apple with the inscription, "To the most beautiful." She tossed the apple into the party, knowing the chaos it would cause. Soon, the goddesses Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite were viciously arguing over this golden apple. Zeus, the king of all the gods, did not want to anger any of his goddesses, so he chose another solution. He would select a humble shepherd, known for his good judgment, to decide who received the golden apple. The shepherd that Zeus chose was none other than the lost prince of Troy, Paris. Each goddess promised to give Paris a gift if he chose them as the most beautiful. Hera offered to make him a king. Athena offered to make him the greatest warrior the world had ever seen. But Aphrodite knew what Paris really wanted: love. Her offer was the love of the most beautiful woman in the world. So Paris chose Aphrodite, and in return, he was given instructions: go to Sparta and find Helen.
There we go. And that's what kicks it off. He goes to Sparta, sees Helen of Troy, and can't help but fall in love and whisk her away to Troy, thus starting like a massive war. Lots of deaths, lots of honorable men passing.
But did she love him back?
Yeah. There are moments. So she did initially love him back, but when she saw his dishonor, she kind of fell out of love, because he was nothing like his brother Hector, who was the real honorable heir to King Priam, and he was kind of trying to think of the right word. Well, he just wasn't honorable. He wasn't somebody that could fight, and he didn't really do anything but run away from problems.
Melanthus says, hail Eris and all hail Discordia. I think Eris has a fan.
All right, here we go. Next up, we're still on Helen of Troy topic. We're moving over to an article here. Ancient Origins. This is a pretty fun site just to peruse on its own.
Yeah, I discovered it and I was like, I think you know about it.
Yeah, I used to do a bunch of strange news from this website. And
This website is the strange news.
in history, yeah. If you like strange history, Ancient Origins is a good place to go. And I follow them on Twitter as well. And I think in here they were talking about Who was it? About the meaning of the story. I can't remember which Greek it was. Maybe it wasn't in this article. Wait, this is one. I think there's a different versions of it. So one here for Athens. Oh, okay. And this one, there's actually another abduction of Helen. So she was abducted twice. Helen was destined to be the most beautiful woman in the world. Her reputation was so great that even as a young child, so this is before Paris met her and whisked her off to Troy, the hero Theseus, the guy that went against the Minotaur, desired her for his bride. He kidnapped her and hid her in his city of Athens. And it was Helen's brothers that rescued her from Athens. Yeah, and then later on, as an adult, is where she meets Paris after she's already married to Menelaus. Okay, and I think that was the reason I included this article, because it had a little bit more about men going crazy for this beautiful woman of Sparta.
So, did you have the description?
No, I'm gonna go to my YouTube history and see if I can find that. So I'm gonna put you on the spot here and see if you can entertain us while I find this real quick.
Panic noises. So, listen. I was thinking of this scenario if you would find yourself in a forest, like as a traveler, and you're tired after weeks upon weeks of being on your journey, and then you get stopped at some point by these fairy creatures because without your knowing, you crossed into fairy territory, and they enchant you with promises of shelter
Offered to make him
and of food and beauty and everything. Would you step into their realm, and would you even like consider letting yourself be enchanted by them?
That wouldn't be something I would admit to, so no, it's usually a bad idea. And I did find it. It's actually the same video we were already watching. That's why it wasn't in my notes, because it was already here.
Yeah.
So this is a from the channel called Royalty Now, and they do a number of historical visual recreations of historical figures.
now.
And here's the big reveal. I just spoiled it.
She is pretty.
So I'll put this link in the show notes because it actually details why these particular
Let it
traits.
in because I think it's going into her pupils. Let it zoom in.
Okay.
I want to see if I'm right.
She starts moving,
Oh, it's not. Okay.
bringing her to life. There you go. So yeah, I won't spoil the whole video for everybody, and I'll put the link in the description after the stream so you can see why those particular choices were made if you are curious enough. And that was a good job of filling while I had to find that. So next up, we are moving on to an Armenian fairy tale.
Ooh. Melantris looks a bit like young Vanya Shiva, but a bit less skinny. I don't know who that is.
Shchereva? Vanya Shchereva?
Maybe it's an actress. Googling noises.
Can you Google it for me?
Yes.
And I will start our Armenian fairy tale called The Golden Bracelet. Actually, I'll leave Helen up here while I read this fairy tale about beauty. She's an actress and a singer. And this is the first time we're going to do like a full fairy tale on It Came from the Grove. So we'll see how that goes. In a distant kingdom, there lived a young woman named Alara. She possessed not only remarkable beauty, but also a golden bracelet that adorned her wrist. This bracelet was said to hold a magic that enhanced her attractiveness and bestowed charm upon her words. One day, a traveling merchant named Alaric arrived in the kingdom. Alaric was known for his shrewd business deals and his penchant for collecting rare and valuable items. When he saw Alara's golden bracelet, he was captivated by its beauty and the aura of enchantment that seemed to surround her. So we've got beauty and enchantment, not just in the woman herself, but in an actual item now. This is our first foray into the beauty and fascination through art.
Mm-hmm.
Alaric approached Alara and struck up a conversation, his attention immediately drawn to her. Alara's gentle words and radiant smile, amplified by the magic of the golden bracelet, persuaded Alaric to reveal his business intentions in the kingdom. He confided that he sought a valuable gem rumored to be hidden in the nearby mountains. Alara's heart was kind, and she was intrigued by Alaric's quest. She offered to accompany him on his journey, believing that her beauty and charm could help smooth interactions with potential allies and overcome challenges. Alaric, charmed by Alara's offer, agreed eagerly. So hopefully this will turn out better than Helen of Troy. As they journeyed through the rugged terrain, Alara's beauty indeed opened doors and won the favor of those encountered. Villagers willingly provided them with provisions, and creatures of the forest seemed to be at ease in their presence. So perhaps the whole Disney princess with being able to charm the beasts, fauna of the forest, comes from these kinds of fairy tales, just from the beauty of the character.
It is a fairy skill after all, right?
Yes. However, as Alaric and Alara ventured deeper into the mountains, they faced increasing danger and treacherous obstacles. It became apparent that Alara's beauty, while persuasive, could not shield them from every challenge. Their relationship deepened as they relied on each other's strengths to overcome adversity. Finally, they reached the heart of the mountain, where the rumored gem was said to be hidden. Much to their surprise, they discovered not a gem, but a reflecting pool with magical properties. When they looked into the pool, they saw their own reflections. Alaric's worn and rugged appearance contrasted with Alara's radiant beauty. In that moment, Alaric realized that true beauty was not just skin deep. He saw the strength, courage, and kindness that defined Alara's character. The enchantment of the golden bracelet faded away, and he fell in love with the woman who had shown him the value of inner beauty. As they left the mountains, Alaric and Alara returned to the kingdom. While they hadn't found a valuable gem, They had discovered something far more precious, a deep connection built on mutual respect and love. Beauty is the most obvious means of fascination, and I've already gone past my notes, so there we go.
Well, I think that you found a valuable gem, and that is their love.
Oh my goodness.
What?
I see what you're doing there.
It was good for the story.
This does come into the other characteristics beyond physical that distract men and get them to lose their words. And going back to Helen of Troy, I forget who it was writing, but it was some Greek philosopher who was saying that there was a moral of the Iliad where, since Helen had immense physical beauty but not the character to go with that beauty, is why it led to discord and madness. If she had beauty of character, there might have been a more beautiful outcome to her marriage with Menelaus, and who knows how history and the myth would have been different.
So what I get from this story is that no matter how enchanted men are by the beauty of a woman, there are other qualities that also play into how long-lasting their love is.
Yes, very much.
Yes, because past a certain point of enchantment, there's love, but usually it never passes through. Just like you said that men had the value, what's it called? Pride, the
Honor?
thing that we talk, yeah, honor. And then women had their virtue, so it's a thing that both were seeking in each other.
Yeah, and in the Iliad, there is the falling out of love with Helen and Paris because he doesn't show the honor, and also there's the discord that is just from pure beauty, and that's kind of like the result of not having the inner beauty to go along with it. So it's a foreboding tale of the power of fascination. Let's bring in some science. How about that? That'll be a different tact here as we continue our journey. Studies suggest that people are more trusting of attractive strangers. I wonder if there's been a study on if animals are more attracted or peaceful around attractive humans. Beware strangers. Go ahead.
Don't they just act calm if that person is calm, and they don't exactly pick up on our standards of beauty and symmetry and such?
I don't know. We haven't delved into that yet. Did you?
What would you do the test on?
Well, I was trying to see if there had been any studies. Maybe there are. But you're bringing up the idea of an experiment. I see. Did you find the Vanya Sterareva?
Yes, I sent you a photo.
Oh no. All right.
It's fine. She kind of looks like it, but modern.
Yeah, we gotta find a better way to share images midstream. Unless you don't mind being stuck in a box.
Stuck stick in a box. I should start decorating the box on the inside since I'm spending so much time in it.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I see the similarities. I'll bring it up on stream here.
Melantros knows his stuff. I just want to say that I think I'm gonna keep my enchanted form past this stream because it's fun.
You are getting some good use out of it.
Mhm.
All right, so there's the actress, singer. This is the Ripley's Believe It or Not portion of our content. Is this the new embodiment of the Helen of Troy? Believe it or not.
I believe it.
Okay, back to our study. According to a recent study, attractive strangers are trusted more, but more is expected of them as well. And if they do not live up to the trust placed in them, they might be penalized more heavily than those who are less attractive. So this is a bit that probably is lesser known about this particular study, if you have heard about it at all. Never really liked her, to be frank.
So I guess at least Melantros won't get into that war for Helen of Troy. You're good
Not one of her
on this
suitors.
side. Yeah, less hassle.
This article from Rice University goes on to say, trust is a key concept in political science, and much research has delved into what makes people trust one another. A recent study looked at the snap judgments people made in deciding whether to trust strangers and whether attractiveness enters into the equation. It shows people are willing to judge a book by its cover, and even though from a strategic standpoint, they should not. Let's see if there's anything else we should pull from here.
You know, something really nice about Eastern European folklore and language is that we have a lot of sayings. They usually are like a double meaning kind of saying. And I'm trying to think of a few, but the one that pops into my mind is referring to men, really not women. That, you know, in men, there's like a good quality to have is to be tall. But sometimes it's just not enough to just be tall and that's it. And our saying roughly translates to you can be as tall as an evergreen tree, but most of the times you're dumb as a fence. And I just love these little sayings that we have about beauty and whatever, because most of the times they're just poking at someone.
I do like those sayings, especially about caressing bark. That one was good.
Yeah.
Caressing bark.
Gently.
So this study was done with 206 students from Virginia Tech, Rice University, and North Carolina A&T. They were all young and youthful, and it was a mixture between male and female. So this isn't just about how men react to beauty, it's about how men and women react to beauty and attractiveness. And they took part in trust games, is how the experiment was played out.
Once there were Hunger Games, and now these are trust games. Just don't trust them.
All right, let's see some fairy glamour, because we're getting into the more esoteric now. Things get a little more exciting.
Can I translate some more sayings for you guys?
Yeah.
So, the one who gets to be born beautiful is also born married, if that makes sense.
It's kind of like they're born to be married, or they're Like,
No, they are promised to someone since they are born,
oh, I see. Okay.
so that they won't come along some sort of scoundrel to marry them.
Right. The parents protecting this highly valued child.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Romanian historical account I was reading. Maybe you can say the name of the title, because I'm never going to be able to say that word, that title.
The book that I gave you
Yeah,
is called Alexandru Lăpușneanu,
there you go.
and yeah, it's historical.
And in that, there was a quote that I sent to Wisteria. It said, "Her figure had that beauty which one made the woman of Romania famous, and which is rarely found now." So this was written in the 17th century, and I was very curious.
You were deeply intrigued.
It's like, what was this? What was this type of Romanian beauty that is not found any longer? So yeah, we had a little chat about that, but we don't have to go into it here.
Yeah, but I did give the insight, or at least I tried to.
That's a very fairy tale kind of thing in regards to the marriage, Melantrist.
Mm-hmm. Can I read some more?
Yeah.
So, a heart that has fallen in love with the beautiful will never grow old. So this kind of refers to the beautiful things in life. It always remains youthful. Let's see.
The rejuvenating powers of love.
Beauty without kindness is like a house but without a door, like ship but without the currents to carry it, and like a stream but without water.
Do we have a saying that is a good welcome for DB?
I need to look into it.
Welcome, DB. Glad to have you here. We are talking about the power of fascination. We're just going over all of these different stories about beauty and fascination, and even leading up to a recent study about attractiveness and how people trust more attractive strangers. And now we're getting into fairy glamour.
I found one. Wait, let me get into my form when I say it.
Oh no, I am still not prepared.
It's not about you being prepared. Wait. There we go. I'm in my form. Hello, hi everyone.
It's still too much.
So beauty without virtue is the feminine perfection.
It's what?
It's the feminine perfection.
Ah, okay.
I have to do the simple things that a simple man can.
Yeah, it always gets me. You gotta switch back for me, please.
Boop. The quails.
There we got the chat going now.
Woohoo!
So yeah, I completely got sidetracked by your transformation again. We had the sayings. Were there any other sayings?
I closed the tab.
Okay, we can move
It's
on
fine.
to our fairy glamours.
The allure of the feminine physique, yeah. Everybody's sweating. It's getting hot in here. We start singing. We start dancing. It was hot because I had the steam that was from a sauna.
So I think this does tie into the fairy power of conjuring delusion, which is termed glamour. It is worth knowing something about the origins and etymology of this word, because This tells us a good deal about our ancestors' understanding of the nature and use of this form of magic. The word, originally Scots, was introduced into the literary English by Sir Walter Scott. Sir Walter Scott the Scot. It's a corrupt form of the word grammar, all right, and is related to the noun gramarye, which also
Glamour.
is glamour. So in French, that's grimoire. Ooh, so there's a tie between like a magical grimoire and glamour. So that's a spell book is grimoire.
But a grimoire would use a lot of glamour to work.
Well, it says since the latter is a spell book, which shows us that glamour was originally conceived as being a form of verbal spell or charm. So that would be more about like persuasion. And then I guess it evolved into something entirely different. Good to know. Glad. We hope to throw lots of good to know at you today.
Walter always introducing words. He's so silly. Good old Walter.
So originally glamour was not considered to be unique to fairykind. It could be cast by witches, wizards, and by, gypsies.
Uh-oh.
One early example of it is its use in the 18th century ballad Johnny Fa. First printed by Ritson, 1794. As soon as they saw her well-fared face, they coosed the glamour o'er her. I don't know what coosed means. And Johnny Fa is the king of gypsies, who's best known today from the folk song Raggle Taggle Gypsies. I have not heard of that.
His last name, you know, gypsies have their specific language. That they speak. It's usually like not regional, but Irish travelers have their own dialect compared to Romani gypsies, and that word is like a bad word.
Which one?
His last name?
Taggle?
No, Johnny Fa.
Oh, okay. I see, because you start off saying his last name. I got you. I see, so we're getting into some treacherous territory.
Yes, it's spicy stuff. Actually, my grandpa taught me some gypsy words.
You'll have to share them sometime. Maybe not today.
Not today.
Johnny Five. Yeah, I was thinking that too. As soon as I read it. So that's interesting. I didn't know the connection to grammar.
DB needs the input. Maybe I don't know if it's problematic. Maybe we can do a stream on gypsy folklore. Is it problematic?
Yeah, sure, let's do it.
Okay, it won't be problematic just because it comes from a reputable source that will research everything, so nothing will be out of context or just misinterpreted or generalized. So I'm gonna come with the facts, with the history, with their actual folklore, so nothing like the Esmeralda they had in Disney and the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, so I'm now curious about the connection between glamour and the evil eye, because those are like both forms of magic that are very archaic and have the ability to alter the minds and reality around the subjects.
Yeah, but evil eye, it's a thing. Like someone giving you the evil eye.
Yeah, but there's more to the history of it than just the name of it now. Because I think something has been given the term of the evil eye, where the evil eye used to be much more encompassing.
Can I say my experience with evil eye?
Go for it.
So we have this thing in our culture where someone either admires you too much, just looks at you in like a jealous way, or they are trying to study you without like coming up to talk to you. So they're trying to make assumptions about you and everything, and they're talking in their mind badly about you. This is where the whole glamour thing happens, and it can be made by anyone, not just by witches or wizards. And you can get the evil eye from a lot of people. Therefore, when you start feeling bad or like you're about to faint, but there are no such like medical things that you suffer from, like you ate properly and you're not tired and you're not suffering from anything, but suddenly like a switch, you feel like you're about to faint and everything, that means you've been drained of your energy through this evil eye. And in Romanian folklore, there's this incantation you can do over a glass of water, and there's like an entire process to it. And you light 3 matches, and then you do circles on top of the glass of water, and you dip them in the water, so you like put out the flame. And while you do that, you say like this little prayer incantation over the water, and you take 3 sips. And after that, you feel better instantly. So you get rid of the bad eye, the evil eye. And it rather looks, a bit, how should I say, witchcrafty, and like not a real thing. And Wistmoor witnessed it when I did it for myself, and he didn't judge or anything. But he looked really curious at me.
Yeah, probably raised an eyebrow involuntarily.
Yeah.
So when we do our gypsy episode, maybe we can talk a little bit more about the evil eye as well, because I think they have a lot of overlaps.
We can talk about the power that they hold in their language, and how spells come from certain words that are, charged, magically charged. We can talk about their practices and the little spells that are passed on in folklore, and just overall in their glamour and culture.
I did find the article that had the Greek ideal of beauty, which is actually more of kind of a golden middle way, because they see things that are just filled with physical beauty as something that's kind of dangerous.
So what's the middle way?
Tempering the beauty with other positive characteristics, and also being accepting of flaws, because that's sort of like a tempering that, or I'll just read here. Consequently, the Greek ideal of beauty was both an invitation to strive for beauty and a reminder to accept human boundaries, such as age and imperfections. In the context of classic Greek culture, this belief was transmitted through a series of myths and legends, best illustrated by the myth of Icarus, who, discarding his father's warnings, flew too high in the sky. Reaching the limits of the human realm, the wax of his wings leading him to fall and die. And then there's the tale of Narcissus. Unable to find a spouse, Psyche was so beautiful that crowds from the entire country came to gaze at her magnificence, so amazed that they forgot to honor the real goddess of beauty and love, Aphrodite. And then Psyche gets punished by Aphrodite for that. There are gruesome trials of Psyche, and that's probably where our word Psyche in English comes from, about her trials.
Didn't Arachne him have the same story? Like she was so beautiful and also like talented, and then she got turned into a spider.
Yeah, and Medusa.
Yeah, one of the top haters in history.
Yeah, Aphrodite is a dangerous goddess. Aphrodite also the one of the top haters in history. There you go.
She doesn't really have a beautiful soul if she's so jealous.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like they had an understanding of the negative properties of beauty through Aphrodite and those myths. So now we're moving on to artists manipulating minds through magic. Is it magic? Is it skill? Is it something in between? The artist as magician. You guys familiar with this mug? He's been around for quite a while.
Is this Rasputin?
No, this is Alan Lee. He did a lot of work.
Isn't this a Rasputin impersonator?
He may be. Oh, sorry, not
think
Alan
when
Lee. This is Alan Moore. I got that confused.
I think I have a screenshot I took like the other morning. Wait, let me see, because this is like divine timing or something. I
Okay.
saved it for you.
So Alan Moore is a comic book creator. He's an artist and writer with a long history in the comic book industry.
And the long beard.
Yes.
Alan Moore. Yeah, I did. I knew it.
Well, what's going on?
I have a screenshot to send you. Can you put it up on the screen or just read it or something?
Okay.
Right. Panic.
Oh, it's not there yet.
It's almost there. The scroll is taking its sweet time.
Okay. I will put it on the screen. And bring Wisteria back. My resume pales in comparison to Alan Moore. The wizard is well-rounded. Oh, wow. It actually has under his name writer, wizard, mall Santa, and Raspin impersonator.
Rasputin.
So this is actually written as a, what are they called? Subtitle of his name on BBC News. I don't know if somebody was doing a joke on him or if he wrote it himself as a joke.
No, it's like it was on BBC News. I went and checked.
Yeah. I wonder if on the show, whoever was producing it or whoever was working in the backstage entered that in as a joke, or because I mean, wizard is real. He does practice witchery and wizardry.
Well, squint a bit and see him in a red costume, and he looks like a mall Santa.
Yeah.
And you couldn't really say he doesn't look like Rasputin.
True.
So I don't care what you guys have on your resume. It's not as impressive as this guy's.
I'm working on it.
You wanna be a mall Santa?
No, I'm going to outperform Alan Moore with my resume.
You wanna be dressed up as the Bigfoot, the Florida Bigfoot, the booger?
Yeah, something like that. That's better than a mall
Hard
Santa.
to beat. Or like a gnome. Garden gnome.
Yeah, and be like, instead of wizard, real druid.
What are your resumes? Because I know DB is a gnome, full-time gnome.
Internet druid.
Interdruid.
All right, I think there's
Cable druid.
there's a link in here to another article, which is an interview with Alan Moore that talks about what we're trying to get into. Here we go. Comics author Alan Moore on the arts and the occult. Magic is afoot. This appeared in Arthur, All Ages Counterculture magazine. And here's a quote from Alan Moore. I tend to see magic in a way as a kind of language. I think surprisingly the gods of magic are the gods of language. And magic is, in a sense, a kind of language with which to read the universe. It's a language of symbols with which you can extract meaning from the most mundane things. And in fact, it's that aspect of magic that I find myself attracted to. The idea of magic as some weird, alien, Doctor Strange dimension that one can escape to from this one doesn't really appeal to me. I think that if magic is anything, it's about realizing the unbelievable supernatural magic is that just in fact that we are thinking and having this conversation, realizing just how magical every instance is, every drawn breath, every thought. Did that make sense to anybody?
It does, but I was right after all that the language is art form and magic form on its own, just like I told you about the gypsy language being used for glamour.
Yeah, so we do have more tying into the whole grammar, grimoire connection that I didn't even plan today. A true wizard with a true beard.
You know, I am curious if this guy had such a quote quoted next to his picture. What would your quote be if you had to publish something somewhere? What is like one Wistmoor quote?
Oh, an actual quote.
Something that you say, not all the time, but when you're in your wisdom moments.
Dang.
And how about you guys in chat?
Dang, I'd been throwing all of the on the spot requests at you today, and now you're throwing one at me.
I know one that would be for me. And it could be accompanying like an interview that someone would do with me, and it would always just be like, remember to read from the top.
My wisdom would be to sow more seeds than you plant to grow. Than you plan to grow. That's the best I got on the spot.
That's good. Wistmoor, Gardener of the Year.
And that works for everything, especially business and money. And that ties into like all the projects that we do and seeing what's successful and what actually grows. All right, let's see if there's anything else cool from Mr. Moore here.
Oh, I have another quote. If you have a pocket, then you have a place for a snack. Don't set out on the road snackless. DB says ones. Full of wisdom is the stream.
All right, so we got another quote here from Alan Moore. I'd say that in a sense, all artists, writers, musicians, visual arts artists have become divorced from their origins, I think that over the last couple of centuries, art has been increasingly as merely entertainment, seen increasingly merely as entertainment, having no purpose other than to kill a couple of hours in the endless, dreary continuum of our lives. And that's not what art's about. Art, as far as I'm concerned, art is something which has got a much more vital function.
What does art mean for you, Wistmoor?
I think art is my connection to the wonder in the world. So it is more than just entertainment. It's about that whole kind of rejuvenating power of beauty and wonder, and bringing that all into the world to share with others.
So it's not a hobby, it's the pursuit of beauty.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And so that pursuit of beauty does tie into what we've been talking about today, and the power to fascinate the viewer through beauty. And it is more than just about beauty standards. There is something to be learned from them. Like, you've got the whole golden ratio and symmetry and all of that. But it's something worth studying in its entirety and exploring as an artist.
Yeah, but I think that all of these ratios and measurements that you mentioned give us a glimpse in how people try to quantify and measure beauty to try to achieve it with specific formulas, but then we are proven time after time that beauty is this concept that can never have a specific formula, and that it can come in different forms to enchant our mind and soul.
Yeah, and I think those formulas would merely be a starting point.
Yeah. I think people need to understand, to quantify, and to kind of like stack their ideas and findings on top of each other to better grasp what they comprehend either with their conscious or subconscious. So it's important to always be in this pursuit of knowing why something works, how it works. It's a curious mind after all, and it has its beauty, but knowing why we do this and why we are searching for a meaning of it is also reminding us of the beauty of just the journey and not a conclusion.
Yeah, and it goes way beyond human beauty, where
Yeah.
you can find beauty in nature, and even beautiful art that isn't of humans. So we have here, somewhere in a building downtown, there's an artist designing the image that is one day going to call out your name from the wrapper of a pack of cookies on the grocery store shelf and say, "Eat me, buy me, taste me." So there is a power of persuasion, and it's beyond just like what you would think of beauty. It's just, it has a quality of fascination. I don't know if this particular image embodies it, but it is at least a stand-in. The milk and cookie image. It says, "I love you."
I love you too.
There's the power of uwu right there.
Oh, well.
There you go.
It would embody it more if instead of the chocolate chip cookie, it would have been an Oreo cookie, because this is what they say in at least the Romanian version of the commercial, that Oreos are truly the cookies made for milk.
Oh.
So it's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, it really does hold up better when dunked in milk than most cookies.
Did you try the fork trick?
No. But
Well, when
I
you
get the
hold
idea.
on, yeah, okay,
Sorry.
it's fine. Now no one will get the trick.
It just involves a fork.
Yeah, but as to where you stick the fork.
All right, so we got one more quote from Alan Moore, and then we're going to go to mesmerizing labor.
Sorry.
It's okay. Actually, art and magic are pretty much synonymous. I would imagine that this all goes back to the phenomena of representation. When in our primordial past, some genius or other or other actually furred upon winning the winning formula of this means that. Whether this, I have no idea what's going on over there.
Nothing. I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay. Wisteria is muted while she's being tickled. Whether this was a voice or that was a mark upon a drywall, that was a guttural sound. It was the moment of representation that actually transformed us from what we were into what we would be. It gave us the possibility, all of a sudden, of language, and when you have a language, you can describe pictorially or verbally the strange and mystifying world that you see around you. And it's probably not long before you also realize, hey, you can just make stuff up. So that's sort of the getting into the mystifying, the wonder, which is a step beyond just mere beauty. She's cracking. So there we go. And that's a common theme here on It Came from the Grove, is the mystifying, the wondrous. And now on to the mesmerizing. Mesmerizing
I thought
labor.
the common theme of It Came from the Grove was Wisteria randomly laughing alone.
That's the subplot.
Oh.
So the man who introduced mesmerism to the U.S. was a slave owner from Guadalupe, where planters were experimenting with magnetizing their enslaved people. All right, let's see. Charles Poyen's American lecture series wasn't doing so well in the autumn of 1836. He wrote home for an infusion of sugar plantation cash and then continued his tour into southern New England. Finally, he hit upon an eager audience, cotton mill owners intrigued with the idea he was hustling. Poyen sold mesmerism as a form of management for disciplining of labor, what scholar Emily Ogden calls the inauguration of a whole strand of the American occult tradition. So, are managers practicing occult magic on wage slaves today? Let's see what this entails. So this was 1836. This was during a time of spiritualism and occultism, supernaturalists. Mesmerists enchanted their subjects in order to manage them using mesmeric thrall and clairvoyance in labor discipline. With the help of his demonstration partner, the factory worker Cynthia Gleason, Poyen showed the owners of American cotton mills how enchantment could impose order, a magic trick he had seen performed in both French hospitals and Guadalupean sugar plantations. Chuck E. Cheese theme. So mesmerism itself comes from a German doctor, Franz Anton Mesmer. He said that manipulating the invisible, vital, natural force that surrounded all life forms could both cure and control people. So mesmerism has evolved into hypnotism, and there are still or there are actually practitioners of hypnotism that say that they can cure you. I think it's seen its most success on addicts, whatever you're addicted to. Locally here, I've had friends that have been hypnotized to quit smoking, and it worked for them. So Poyen learned about this while he was in Paris in medical school. Let's get to some details. We want the deets.
Would you let yourself be hypnotized just to see if it works?
Yeah. I wouldn't want to do it like in front of a stage, though. Just in front of an audience.
Is me and Dracon okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna hypnotize Wistmoor.
So this was also during the Industrial Revolution, where there were a bunch of big machines, power looms, and they needed to be operated by people. And since children weren't an option, they relied on unmarried women instead, and these were mill girls, a class of the managers found more tractable. Went on for 12 to 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. So that was their work schedule. They wanted these unmarried women to work 12 to 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. The automation of the factory required automation of factory workers tuned to the factory bell. So he was using his mesmerism to get them to comply with the rhythms of the factory bell, okay? Using his own magnetism to bring them into line. So he would use a trance hypnotic state. And use it as a way to hypnotize this Cynthia Gleason to be preternaturally punctual for work. All right, so this doesn't sound like anything I've heard of in modern day managerialism. I have not been hypnotized, nor have I hypnotized any employees.
Maybe you were just not invited in those meetings.
True.
Because you're not an unmarried woman.
Yeah. In France, nervous patients were considered the most susceptible to being mesmerized. And he also used this on slaves for slave owners so that they would be magnetized to ward off a slave revolt. So he'd be paid to go around and mesmerize people's employees. He would also have classes for 75 cents, these lectures that people could attend so that they can practice their mesmerism on their own employees to make people more primitive, more controllable, and more exploitable. And you can read Poyen's book, Progress of Animal Magnetism in New England. It was, after all, a magic art, a parlor trick. Other forms of enchantment or punishment would be explored to control workers. So he went on to be a clairvoyant, have his own clairvoyant business. But I guess he's the one that kicked off mesmerism in the US. All right,
Can you imagine his resume? Clairvoyant, persuasive person, guy with powers.
Yeah, that's the kind of person you don't really want to deal with.
Yeah.
Suggestion can be very strong. Yeah, I went through a phase where I was reading a lot about persuasion, sales tactics, techniques, and suggestion, and the power of subliminal suggestion, where the person doesn't know that that's what you're actually pushing them towards, but you're like giving them these guiding lines to get to where you want them to get to. A lot of interesting stuff.
We had an entire chapter on persuasion and economy class for some reason, but it was the psychological kind of persuasion that you do, just in general relationship, friendship, whatever. So it had very little to do with economy, but it was like an entire whole chapter that we had to go through. So it was interesting, to say the least.
DB says, I wonder how clairvoyanting is doing these days. What's the hourly wage? We used to have a lot more fortune tellers locally, and they've all closed shop.
You still do?
I do?
Yeah, I've seen they have those chalkboards on the side of the street next to pubs. So I guess they are like practicing in pubs, but next to the local menu, they have the clairvoyant available from this time to this time.
Interesting. So I guess they're just no longer holding down business property like they used to.
Yeah. They are clairvoyant travelers.
All right, now we are getting to our strange internet portion of the show. You guys ready? This will take us back to the story of Helen of Troy, but this is Japan's Helen of Troy, and Paris in this story is a tennis player, and Menelaus is a weather channel.
I wanna answer DB's question, because here we are also redirecting people to tap into new careers. So I didn't find the clairvoyant, but this falls under being a psychic and everything, tarot reader. So the median, the middle
Median.
it's $97 an hour.
Wow.
With 70% of them making $209 an hour.
Where's this?
In the US.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I was about to say, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm not a clairvoyant, though.
Me neither. But we can be actors. Dang, I'm in the wrong business. I know. Like, they could win up to $428K a year. So it's a lot.
Yeah, and in this story we have the fascination with men of Japan and a Weather Channel lady. So here we go.
Whoa, and another website says the lowest is 784 and the highest is 900 an hour.
Wow, that probably is like for celebrities.
Yeah, for whoever has the money to pay it. Okay, we are in the wrong business. Good to know.
CEOs and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys already fascinated? Does Wisteria need to switch her state?
Why is this scary?
Last month, the Japanese internet...
Because she went missing. That's the mystery. She gets abducted. Just like Helen of Troy.
Because she's too pretty?
We'll see. We'll see.
turned on one of
This
its
is
most
like
beloved
Helen
figures.
of Korea.
Her name is Hiyama
Yes.
Saya, and although a simple
Helen of
weather
Japan.
reporter, she found her way into the hearts of millions of internet users through cute clips that garnered millions
Oh, you
of
mean like,
views.
did she go to Korea? I gotcha.
She ticks all the boxes.
We'll see.
She has nerdy hobbies like cosplaying and gaming.
モンスターというエナジードリンクデビューしました。徹夜でゲームするときとか飲みます。
And on top of that, she's even a bit socially awkward.
山ポーズって皆さんご存知ですか？
Best part was, it seemed like she was single.
私恋愛において諦めが入っててどうせ見向いてくれないんだろうなって思うタイプだから
So you're telling me
We
there's a
got
chance?
warring
Her 5-year
fascination going
career
on
at
here.
Weather News Live, a 24/7 online weather channel hosted entirely by young women. Yes, we'll get to that later. Has brought her a lot of success. In addition to becoming the most popular weather woman in Japan, she was chosen by her home prefecture of Ibaraki to represent them as an ambassador. And if those weren't big enough honors already, this year the company Sharp produced special Hiyama Saya air purifiers voiced and signed by her. Hey, that's not a bad idea. Would you guys buy an air purifier voiced by me? Ohayo gozaimasu.
I would buy an air purifier voiced by the Beast of Govardhan.
What would the Beast of Govardhan say on the air purifier?
I don't know, something like the air is now clean, but in French.
The air is clean.
It sounded oddly Japanese.
Yeah, I did. Sorry.
It's fine.
Like
I'm
for
It's been a
Saya,
while.
when you have millions of fans, some of them are bound to take it a bit too far.
yeah. So she's definitely as popular as some anime characters. Have you seen all of those anime character decals that have appeared?
Yeah.
Whether through fan art, massive donations to the stream, or simply by purchasing her essay/photo book Blue Moment, members of Team Saya did everything they could to support her, and it was looking like they might get a chance to meet her in person. The Weather News Live fan meetup was coming in July, and there hadn't been one in 5 years. All of the casters were going to be there, including Saya. There was only one problem. Tickets, even at their 6,500 yen price point, were in super high demand. The 1,000-seat venue sold out in minutes. Never have a group of men been so excited about the weather. But anyways, around a week before the fan meetup, something weird started happening. Saya stopped appearing on
Yeah, getting tickets to see a Weather Channel person must be somebody very special.
There's maybe other countries have it too, but for Romania, there's rarely a channel where they choose to go with a male weather guy.
Mhm.
You always have a woman, and if you take a look at them, and they're all these are they called like either gym trainers or models and such. People here are really excited about the weather. I'll show
Weather
you
News
some.
Live. Nobody could figure out why. No Saya today or tomorrow, huh?
So she goes missing. This is where the mystery begins.
I'm feeling a bit Saya deprived. She's off tomorrow, too. What's going on? Is she taking a summer vacation or something? Saya busoku. Saya busoku. Does this mean she's quitting Weather News? Saya, please tell us that you're not leaving Weather News. But eventually, Saya was found. And not
Oh, where?
by some sleuthy detective work either. Saya, or at least someone who looked like her, was found in the last place anybody expected, Great Britain. Watching Wimbledon.
There you go. Helen of Wimbledon.
Oh my god. Could it be? Yep, it was her. Saya, who had never expressed any interest in tennis before, took time off to fly all the way to the UK to watch Wimbledon? I thought she'd be at home gaming during her summer break. Wimbledon is a big shock. The match she was watching was between Daniel Gallen and the #1 ranked Japanese player Nishioka Yoshihito, and she was in seats that are generally reserved for friends and family. Friends and family seats? The person beside Saya must be the one connected to Nishioka, right? I hope that's what's going on. Well, that isn't what was going on. The person beside Saya was her mom. And then, even more revealing footage came out. Saya had come to the UK with her mom to be Nishioka's special guest at Wimbledon. This has to be a lie. It's all but confirmed now. Huh? Yamete kureyo, uso daro, Saya-chan.
Yeah, and this is where the discord begins. So it's all tracking with the Iliad story.
Yeah, Saya. I just don't care anymore. The colors have faded from my world. Nishioka, that guy?
Paris, that lame dude?
Even a great serve goes and the racket bin.
Why does it have to be him? Some fans were getting so angry that even the car guy had to come in and defend Saya. Things got so crazy online that Saya eventually had to put out a statement on Twitter. To all my wonderful supporters, I wanted to share some personal news with you that you may have already seen in a few reports. I'm currently in a relationship with the professional tennis player Nishioka Yoshihito.
Oh, the truth. It comes out.
Both look forward to nurturing our bond and supporting each other in the days to come. Your continued warmth and encouragement would mean the world to us. Nishioka also put out a statement saying the relationship was getting pretty serious and getting mad at people for posting the racket-breaking clips. Look, maybe you're still not convinced that Saya getting a boyfriend was a big deal, but you know who was convinced? Weather News Live shareholders. Their stock fell like 10% overnight. Saya lost a ton of followers in the same period. And when she finally showed up on screen after Wimbledon, there was chaos. The chat wouldn't stop spamming tennis balls and Nishioka's name on screen.
引き続き温かく見守っていただけると嬉しく思います。今後ともどうぞよろしくお願いいたします。
This whole situation is obviously completely foreign to people unfamiliar with East Asian idol culture. Western celebrities are free to have romantic partners, and the
Alright, we can skip past that. We want to just hear the story.
basic life decisions without causing a massive scandal, and that's not fair. The men who were upset with her are called jaksha dansei. They're vulnerable and lonely men, and they feel like
Soy
Weather
boys. Sorry.
What's that? So, wait.
Soy boys.
Oh, vulnerable Ben, yeah.
News Live specifically targeted them with their marketing. They actually made up a new word to describe this. It's called jakudan eigyo, and it means business exploiting vulnerable men. And it's unfortunate that they feel exploited, but they shouldn't direct their anger at Saya. Beta!
I don't know what he
The
just
biggest
said.
scandal that
What? What language was that?
He said beta.
Oh!
Saya. Beta!
Okay.
The biggest scandal that erupted from the no dating rule happened in 2012 when a tabloid magazine reported legendary AKB48 member Minegi. Although it feels like a relic of the past, it doesn't seem like it. The backlash to Mion's statement about rethinking the rule was so bad that the next morning she was forced to come with a position like hers. The psychological toll of living under such public scrutiny must be immense. A woman getting a boyfriend should not be the news
Alright, so we're still talking about outside of the story.
and tuned into the broadcast to see the chaos.
Alright, so we're catching up here. So the business has really dropped off on the Weather Channel, and she's lost a bunch of followers, and she still has to appear at this place that a bunch of people bought tickets for.
But do you know that this is a really legit thing with K-pop idols too? Because they have like a really strict rule. They are forbidden to date anyone in their like colleagues or normal people that are not celebrities, because once their male fans find out that they are like somehow romantically involved with just about anyone else other than their own fantasy in their own mind, that they turn against the whole group.
Yeah,
And yeah, they gotta look available, as DB says.
and I think it's like an unsaid rule.
It's not unsaid, it's like really written in the
Oh,
contract.
okay. Well, I think there are unsaid rules that have carried over into like the VTuber community as well, that we are in. And whenever somebody appears, one of the big VTubers, with like a relationship or spotted doing streams with male VTubers or just YouTubers, there's always a lot of drama around that too.
And the only way to avoid that is to start streaming together like we do.
Yeah.
I have found for all the weather lovers out there a really famous weather girl from Greece, and she presents the news really early in the morning, but she has such an energy and she dances and everything, and people like tune in to watch her no matter where they are. Can I share the video with you?
Yes. Let's just finish this one up, and then we'll have that video. We'll see how this Helen of Wimbledon turns out.
Actually, it went a lot better than expected. Yes, the audience turned out to be 90% men, mostly in their 30s and 40s. And yes, 20% of the seats were empty, most likely in protest. But aside from that, things went pretty well. When all the casters were being introduced, Saya got memed on a little bit.
続いての方、別途いろいろお騒がしてすいません。温かい感じでお迎えください。檜山さやキャスターです。
The fans honestly did a great job supporting her. That wasn't the only time they memed on her, though.
続いてのキャスターはいくら丼ではなくウィンブルドン。
Alright, so they're making jokes about Wimbledon. So it turned out to be mostly okay. Alright, so you had a video
So
for
she
me?
was not kidnapped by someone.
No, she was in a relationship with a tennis player that nobody liked.
Mm.
He had no honor as he beat his racket on the ground in his matches. Alright, did you send me something?
Yeah, I sent you the link.
We'll switch over to TikTok view. I'm so distracted by all of the beauty today. I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
You want me to switch or can I stay like this?
Oh, wait. Maybe you should switch. So I can concentrate.
Yes.
There we go. I know what I'm doing again. Almost.
TB says, what are we talking about? Exactly. We are gonna see a weather girl from Greece and how lively and energetic she is early in the morning. Lost track, exactly.
Σηκωθείτε και χορέψτε το! Καλημέρα όλη μέρα, με πολύ ή λίγο αέρα, και όλα καλά θα πάνε, αν τα σύννεφα φύσανε. Καλημέρα.
Yeah, she really gets into it.
Yeah.
Και με χιονιά και με κρύα, πάντα αισιοδοξία.
It does look fun to watch.
It is. But it's fun to dance too. Greek music is amazing. And their Greek dances too.
So are they celebrating beautiful weather or?
No, they just started and these guys said like, wow, you're energetic. And she's like, yeah, I can dance at any hour of the day. Just like put some music on. And they put it on and she was like, okay, let's dance, people. And this was like before she started presenting her whole weather thing.
Oh.
And this got broadcasted on a bunch of channels, even here, even though we have nothing to do with the Greek weather. And she became TikTok famous just because she's so lively and bubbly.
Alright, so we got our last video of the day about the power of fascination.
DB says that it's good to wake up to. Do you want to do some Greek dances with me, Wistmoor?
Just dance to Greek music?
Yes.
Sure. Sounds fun.
I don't like snails or toads or frogs or strange things living under logs, but oh, I love onions. I don't like dancing with crazy teddies, always jumping on my head, but I love onions.
There you go. Take whatever wisdom you can from that.
I want.
What's that?
I want to do a thing.
Oh.
Look at me. I love onions.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to close out on a good what. What was that?
Reminds me of a friend. I want to meet that friend. Was it Shrek? Shrek like onions.
I like onions. They're good.
I'm gonna send her that. Amazing. Send it with no context, preferably.
Here, I'll drop the link in chat for you.
After all, what kind of context can you even give to that?
There's the link. What? Did it get kicked out or did it work?
It worked.
Okay, great. So that was a fun journey today.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody
I had my fun.
Nobody expected us to land on onions.
Exactly.
And learned all kinds of weird stuff along the way.
And now, just to test how much everyone remembers, we're gonna take a quiz.
No, we won't subject them to a quiz. But if they've forgotten anything, it is up on YouTube and it can be rewatched. So we don't know what the next episode's going to be about yet, and it may be with a special guest. We'll see if that works for our special guest, if it work next Saturday for them. And
if not, I might do the gypsy material. I'm not promising anything.
Okay.
Oh, can we do costumes?
Sure, we can always have fun.
You wanna be dressed as a vampire hunter, the hat-looking gypsy?
Oh, that would be amazing. Even outside of a stream, I just want a vampire D hat.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we'll be back with more It Came from the Grove. And I'm really glad everybody came and joined us for our live stream. And if you're watching afterwards, we appreciate any comments you might have. So you can join in the conversation too, even if you weren't here. Thanks again, everybody, for showing up now and in the future. And we will catch you next time out in the wild.